BFRO report number 67619, a Class B encounter. Report took place on October 17th, 2020, in a section of Sasquatch Alley. The report is as followed. We were north of Highway 20, just outside of Colville, Washington. Time was 9 p.m. to 1 a.m. Gravel being thrown at my pickup, in the front of the gravel being thrown at the left of the game camera. Two loud thumping sounds on a tree, and then followed by a low growling into a wolf sound ending in a high-pitched scream, 200 feet from our camp. Later, the game cameras caught the gravel being thrown into both directions. A huge black figure was mostly part head, shoulder, ending in a mostly clear picture of a shoulder, arm, and open hand that had thrown the gravel. They said there was no surrounding noise. Quiet hurt the ears. The night was dark, damp, cold, no stars, heavy force, mountain ridge. Follow-up report by the BFRO investigator. I talked to the witness by phone. The witness is a retired wildlife biologist and was out scouting, but at most places he ran into a lot of hunters. He and a friend went to the first location in the report. Nobody was around, and they started a fire. He placed a trail cam on the right front hood and a second on top of the toolbox in the back of his truck with the tailgate down. At around 9 p.m., the vocalization was a low growl that went into two whoops, then into a high-pitched squeal. Then there were two wood-on-wood thumps. 1/2 hour to 45 minutes later, he heard pea gravel hit the front of the truck. About 90 seconds later, pea gravel hit the side of the truck. They made sure the fire was out and left. No foul odor was detected. This location is where the radar base used to be, now called the parking lot. The next day, Sunday, they went to the top where the radar base used to be. At noon on that Sunday, they were walking around the old buildings. He detected a sulfur fecal odor 2 separate times, but around the old buildings. He walked over to the edge and saw something black move below him, but he said it could have been a moose, black bear, or a Bigfoot. He then heard a wood knock from the northeast and one from the southwest. The witness has had people say they see a figure in one of the trail cameras pictures, but he says it's not definite, and I agree. It is not snow in one of the pictures because I checked the local forecast for that day. It could be bugs, but the witness heard gravel hit his truck and found some gravel on top of his toolbox. When going through the pictures, he saw one that showed what appeared to be an open hand, but he cannot find that picture and does think he deleted it by accident. The date is correct on the pictures, but not the time. He did not set the correct time. This area has a long history of Bigfoot activity. End of report. So in the follow-up report, they described the vocalization as a low growl that went into two whoops and then into a high-pitched squeal. Now, a squeal and a scream, in my opinion, are drastically different, but of course I wasn't there, so I didn't hear what exactly they heard. But they said they heard a low growl and then two whoops, which was not mentioned in the witness's report. So that's one possible flag that goes up for me, but maybe they just, didn't remember to write that down in the original report. They described having pea gravel thrown at their truck. Now, the area that they were camping at has a lot of gravel. There's just rocks everywhere. And I've camped that area many times, and I have heard on occasion, I've heard a lot of wood knocks in that area, but I've also heard what sounded like rock tapping. So I can believe the possibility of rocks being thrown at them. So then they headed up to the actual base that's on top of the mountain, and he describes smelling a sulfur fecal odor 2 separate times. Now, I've been in those buildings many times, and the place is covered with asbestos, and animals have nested throughout the whole place. There's dead rodents in there. At times, there are smells in there. There's rotting wood in there. There's rotting animals. There's feces. There's urine in there. There's a lot of different odors. And if the wind's blowing just right and it blows through those buildings, you can catch a whiff of this stuff. That's just my explanation for this. Like I said, I wasn't there, so I didn't experience what he experienced. And then he said he saw something black move below him, which could have been a moose, a black bear, or a Bigfoot. Now, there has been a lot of reports of Bigfoot activity up there. Some of the locals have called them stick Indians. There are a lot of black bear. We have found where bears have bedded down inside those buildings during the wintertime. There are a lot of moose up there. We've encountered moose up there a lot. So the possibilities of what he saw could be any of those things. Let's see, what else? Now for the photographs, the investigator thought maybe it could have been snow, but there was no snow at that time. He said it could be bugs, but I've camped that area a lot, and during this time frame, I'm up there a lot, and the bugs are not bad at this at this time of year. So I seriously doubt those were bugs in front of the trail camera. Most likely it could be, the rocks being thrown, but who knows? The figure in the picture is questionable, if it is even a figure. But I just wanted to share this story because this is in Sasquatch Alley, and it's an area that I frequent quite often. It's the exact same area, about 200 feet from where they were camping at, is where I had something pick up my tent. We heard vocalizations. We heard a lot of wood knocks that night. So the possibilities that these guys encountered a Bigfoot, very possibly. Very, very possibly. But there's a couple red flags in it just for myself. He said that he set the date on the game cameras, but not the time, which is not unusual. I've set the date, and forgot the time, or I set the time and didn't set the date, or I've just, didn't even bother to set anything, just still set up the camera. But if you're going to take the time to put in the date, the time is just right there too, so I don't know. The other red flag I saw was he described in the game camera picture in one of them that there was a hand, an open hand and possible arm in one of the pictures, but he thinks he might have accidentally deleted that. That right there is a red flag for me. If that had happened to me, I don't know if I'd even bring it up. it just seems, like the typical Bigfoot stuff. Oh, I lost the picture. I can't prove it. Whether or not there was even a picture there to begin with, we just won't know. So, yeah, that's a BFR report right there in a section of Sasquatch Alley. And there are many, many reports coming from this area. And we will continue to keep going out there. And as long as the logging crews stay away, they're getting closer and closer and closer to this area. So hopefully we have a few more years there before they get there. But I do know there's a crew of them about 2 miles to the west of, a little bit to the northwest of this area. So hopefully I'll have a couple more years here before the logging crews come in. Just one more thing. By the time you guys see this video, I will be out in the field for the next couple days doing some camping, and I'm bringing a special little guest with me who will be joining me on this camping trip. So hopefully we have some action. I'll be doing some filming, so I'll catch you guys in the next video. Have a good one.